Hello, lovelies. Lovies, not lovelies, lovies. We are back again with a little perspective. And for those of you that don't know, I've been doing a series of interviews with different people with dwarfism. I have the pleasure to be friends with so many different people with dwarfism around the world. And October was Dwarfism Awareness Month. I started these conversations then, and there's just so many wonderful people that I want to share with all of you that I decided to just keep going. And Samyuktha is one of them, and she is just a lovely lady, and I cannot wait for you to hear about her story, some of the challenges that she's faced, not only being a person with dwarfism, but being a person of color and a person of Hindu faith, and also an immigrant. And so she's got a lot to share, and I hope that you guys enjoy this story. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your patience and you agreeing to do this with me. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much, Angela, for setting this up for me and for giving me the opportunity to share my story with everyone. Where do I start? Well, I'm, like Angela said, I'm Samyuktha. I live in Chicago. I have achondroplasia. I was born in India about 31 years ago, and I came here to the United States when I was a year and a half, and I've lived in Chicago all my life. I am the oldest of 5 daughters. All of them are average size. I'm the only little person in my family. And we are so strong. We are so, tight knit. And I don't know what I would do without my sisters, without my mother, especially. Whatever challenges I faced, she faced them with me. My mom is my rock. My mom is my number one. I am not who I am without her. Her strength, her confidence, her love, just like her teaching me to believe in myself, to have faith, my faith in God. I'm a practicing Hindu, and I'm a big believer in God. And my mom, she instilled the faith, and faith in me to just really believe, and just if when things go wrong, if things are out of your control, just put it all in God's hands, and God will show you the way. And I'm currently working for an association that supports nurse anesthetists. It's the American Association of Nurse Anesthetists. I am the state association's relations manager. So that's a bit of a mouthful. So we could just say program manager. I work in the state management affairs department, and we provide consulting services to state associations, the State Nurse Anesthetist Association. So each state has a board of directors. They have their own association manager that runs the state organization. We provide financial support, resources. We provide services to help run the state association, to help the board members run the state association effectively. So whether through leadership opportunities, educational opportunities, just be that one-stop shop for the board members and for the nurse anesthetists. And I'm sure many of you have seen, during the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of the frontline, the healthcare professionals are on the front lines, just being really in the spotlight, because they were the ones keeping us safe. They're the ones, protecting us and putting their lives on the line so they can do their job, so they can keep this pandemic under control. And a lot of these nurse anesthetists have been, put in different areas of the hospital, whether it's ICU or whether it's, critical care. It's been a wild ride, to say the least. It's been definitely a hard, difficult time for them. Let's see. So I am also a volunteer. I'm a board member on I'm on an alumni association board. I did my master's in public health at Benedictine University. It's a private Catholic school in Lisle, Illinois, just about 20 minutes away from Bolingbrook, where I'm living right now in the southwest suburb of Chicago. So I did my MPH there, and and because of the good experience I had there, I decided to, give back and support the association by serving on the alumni board. So I'm the events committee chair there, and I am in charge of, putting together events and just supporting the board and making sure we're active and like we're maintaining a presence in the community. What else? I feel like I can go on.
So tell us a little bit about your experience as a student with dwarfism, and was there a difference between your your bachelor's, when you were getting your bachelor's, and when you're pursuing your master's degree?
Yeah, so I think when I was a student, it was definitely it was definitely an experience, definitely an adventure where, just being little, just being, a kid. Like my mom has always called me, like a people person. Like I just wanted to talk to people. I just wanted to be everyone's friend. I just wanted to be liked. I just wanted to fit in so many places. And I have a very vibrant, very, friendly, approachable personality. And I think that helped, help me become more confident and just fitting in and everything. And my sisters have been, huge advocates like for me growing up, and just, stepping in if someone, was pointing or staring or using the M word. And even like when, going to school, I was, blessed to have, good group of friends where they would, be my bodyguard or, stand by and just like really step in if I couldn't, defend myself. But it was, I learned to work hard. Like because, being little, people think you can't do anything. People think, they assume that they put you in a box. That's like they do with, people of all, backgrounds. Society just puts people in boxes. And because of just how I looked, of everything, like they just thought like, oh, well, you're not going to go very far. Are you sure? There's so much doubt. There's so much like, oh, you can't do this. So that enabled me to work harder. Like I needed to overperform. I needed to prove myself, like that I can do this, that I can succeed. And growing up, not only was I able to prove myself, but I would also, people would get jealous. Like it was bad. It was like I either needed to just like sit in my box in my corner, and like not say anything and just like, be invisible or whatever. So it's like I did that, or if I, succeeded, or if I accomplished something, people hated it. Mm-hmm. So it's like, what do you get? Like, so that was something I had to like deal with. And also having, my name is, Samyuktha, and like it's hard to pronounce. And I was so focused on being accepted, wanting to fit in, be liked, and being treated with, respect, and being treated the same as everyone else, that I was able to sacrifice a part of my identity, in the sense, my name. I was willing to be, I was totally fine with being called Sam. I was totally fine like being called Sammy, because that's how I thought I could connect with people. Because that was one less thing.
Mm-hmm. One less barrier, yeah.
One less barrier.
Yeah, yeah. Because you not only have the dwarfism, but you have mm-hmm. your skin color, and so that is a double whammy. And so
yes.
Then you have a name that is ethnic, and it's beautiful, but when people are already not really sure how to connect with you, or if they even want to connect with you, when we're younger, we tend to make those sacrifices that when we're older, we kind of look back and we're like, I'm not doing that anymore.
Yes, exactly. Like once I got, getting to college and everything, I was like, no, Sam is, it's not existent. So, yeah, like so that was something I was able to, I had to, kind of, like, okay, what can I live with? What can I what can I put on the back burner for now? Because I was so focused on getting by, so focused on achieving, so focused on making my mark and like making my place, and like making that impact, and not being seen as, oh, she's short, oh, like she's Indian, like, but be seen as me, be seen as I am a person, like seeing me.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you were, I'm going to change lanes a little bit. When you were talking about your mom and what an influence she has been, it reminded me so much of hearing Kamala talk about her mom and what an influence she was. And I know she was a single mom, and she raised her, and she, whenever there's it comes up, she just talks like you did, just on and on about what a wonderful mother she was. And so that, I love that. And then you guys share heritage, and then you also share the namesake with your sister, right?
Yeah, my sister Shyamala. So Kamala's mom's name is Shyamala. So it's like kind of funny that way, because like it's funny because like what my sister was saying, that when I guess Kamala like announced her candidacy, or when Biden was saying like, this is who my VP is, her friends were like, oh, did you know your name is the same name as our mom? And I was like, yeah like been there, like tell me something new.
Oh, that's great though. I love it. I'm so thrilled to have her coming into the office, and just to have a woman, and then a woman of color at that, and then a woman that is the daughter of immigrants. It's exciting. Like it, and it's not even all politics aside, even like
all politics aside,
just exciting. So sorry that took a little shift, but
no, it's okay. It's like you said, there are things like you could disagree with her on. There are things that she's done which are skeptical, and like which people can agree with, but just looking at her, and just like what, as a woman, like I said, as a woman of color, as a woman, an immigrant, what she's been like, she's representative of like what she represents, and what little girls, like what other young women can aspire to be.
So you are technically an immigrant, right? You were born in India?
Yeah, I was born in India. I was born in the state of Andhra Pradesh. It's southern part of India, and in a small temple town, Tirupati. And I came to the U.S., came to Chicago when I was a year and a half, and I like to run on the fact like, yeah, I'm an immigrant. I'm born in India, but I'm also, yes, you could say first generation, because I spent my entire life here.
Right.
So I don't really remember my life in India, but I was definitely grateful to finally have gotten the chance to go back to India last year. Yeah, after 28 years, like after coming back, I never really had a chance to go, just with family, and just like with our financial situation. It just didn't ended up happening, so we finally got to go, and it was the best experience of my life, especially with being spiritual and just being a big believer in God. It was definitely that sense of renewal, that like relief. And I was actually in between jobs at that time. Before I found the job with the Nurse Anesthetist Association, I actually got laid off at my job of 4 years with the American an organization for DOs. For doctors. I worked 4 years there, and it was just a very downtrodden part of my life, because I was like, loved that job for 4 years, and I got laid off, and then like, what do I do? Like, where am I? But because of that, I was able to go to India. And just like the incredible experience that I've had there with the temple, like the really powerful temples, and just like I felt God's presence there. Felt God's presence there, and I was able to find this one, after the trip. So it's just like the chain of events, and just like really, really I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, I love it when stuff like that happens, where, a bad situation turns out to really be a blessing in disguise, and just works out well. Oh, that's awesome. Yes. So tell us then a little bit about maybe some of the challenges that you might face in the Hindu community or as a Hindu with dwarfism?
So there's definitely a stigma like behind, people with disabilities, people with dwarfism in India. Like it's not, that's the thing. I really don't like using the word normal. It's just because there's nothing is ever normal in society. Yeah, no one is normal. There's such thing as that. But in Indian society, if we're not, average sized, if we're not like, if there's something different about us, there's something wrong with us, and they try to, suppress that. There's not a lot of, education and awareness. And I'm actually one of the co-founders for Little People of India. So I started a support group, like a national support group for people with dwarfism in India. And we have a Facebook page, and we have, WhatsApp group. We have like 100 people on that group. And we have a support group on Facebook. So we're definitely in the beginnings of it, but because there's that stigma, because there's like not a lot of education, and just it because I've, LPA was very, integral in my life, and there wasn't anything in India that, a billion people, imagine how many people with dwarfism are there, like needing that support, needing those resources. And, little people are seen less than human. Like little people, like many of them, ended up, in orphanages, like, because the doctors don't have all those resources. Like the doctors are, it really starts with them. Like when you're a new parent of, a child, like whether of any kind of disability or any, it's like, not average size per se, or just any, condition. You want that reassurance from the first person you see, which is the doctor.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and like you're searching for answers, and if that doctor doesn't have a solid answer, you're like, what do? So it really starts with them. So that's why with, Little People of India, like that's what we want to do, like really empower parents, empower little people to know that they are perfect. They are perfect the way they are. They are, gifts from God, and that they can live, fulfilling, lives. And it's just having that connection, even like, because many people, like many little people in India can be it's like an isolated experience. It's a big country, 1 billion people, and just have that connection just so that they know that there are other people out there like them. Just to be able to talk to them and know that they're not alone.
Yeah. I can only imagine how it is over there with that kind of ignorance, where they just don't know, because even here where there are a lot of doctors who are really great specialists, and then there are doctors who just have the basic knowledge, and then also disabilities aren't as shunned here as they are in some other countries. But even with all of that, I've heard many a story, because 80% of little people are born to average height parents, and I've heard many a story where the baby is found to be a little person, either at the end of their pregnancy or right after birth, and the doctor kind of freaks out, and of course the mom is going to freak out, because like you said, you take the lead of your medical specialist. And so and that's in a more ideal situation, like I said, where it's not so much that disabilities are so shunned, but then you add another layer to it in a country where they're kind of iffy about people with disabilities in general, and that definitely makes it even harder. So
yeah. And even growing up, in America, because like my mom, had like left India all by herself with me. She faces that experience of an immigrant. Just like leaving a country that she's known her whole life and coming to the US and adjusting a whole new life, getting on her 2 feet, treading, murky waters, and also trying to have, giving me the best life possible, making sure that I had all I need to succeed. And she did that on her own. And like she my parents divorced when I was about 22, but my dad wasn't, very involved in my family. Like he was, I'll be, honest with you. Like he was an abusive man. He was a bad man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very manipulative, very abusive, like not a good father, not a good husband, but because of with my sisters, we were able to, stand up. We were able to, get closer that way. And I think not only, having a child with dwarfism, but being a single mom of 5 girls,
Mm-hmm.
that divorce is not very supported in India
Yeah.
because there's arranged marriage, and there's still, the tradition of, the woman staying, by the man, and just like staying married, because if you're divorced, it's just the burden again just falls on the women, even though that they're the ones that need that support. They're the ones keeping it together.
Right.
So my mom definitely had to face that scrutiny. She definitely had, all the while keeping us going.
Yeah. That's incredible. That's awesome. I can definitely see why you credit her with so much inspiration. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I've seen I've seen several. So this month is National Adoption Awareness Month, and I have a couple of interviews with parents who have adopted non-American children with dwarfism. One of them, the little boy is Armenian, and the other one, they're Asian, and I'm not sure what nationality, but because we haven't done the interview yet. But it's and I know many families that have adopted, because it's so common for some countries that the child just gets put in a foster home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's devastating, but I'm glad that your mom was able to come here and provide you with a better life, and then just to power through and do all that. That's incredible. Good for her.
Yeah. Yeah, she's the epitome of resilience.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to know who, like, strength, power, resilience, just talk to my mom.
Yeah.
Like,
Does she realize it? Like, does she know it, or is she and I don't mean is she humble, but does she realize that she's a badass?
yeah, now it's taken her to do it. I think after like living with, it was very suffocating for her to live with my dad when my dad was around. Like, she was in a dark place. But then now, after he left, 10 years, it definitely takes a lot of healing. It definitely takes, because like when you're used to a certain thing, even as like bad, even as like a painful situation it is, it's even when you have that chance to like jump to have that freedom, it can be scary, because it's new. Because it's new, it's a brand new thing. So now I just love seeing, that confidence just like radiate from her. She's like, she would say, I'm awesome, I got this, just seeing that like out of her, just like that she's like much happier.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was married to a narcissist for 10 years, and
oh yeah,
so I can relate to that, because you completely lose yourself because it's survival mode, and I have 3 kids, and so your mom with you and your sisters, it's all about them, just trying to protect them and make things as best as you can for them, and you just completely lose yourself.
You do, like you said, it is survival mode. You're not thinking about anything else.
Yeah. So I'm glad that she gets this chance to blossom and really enjoy herself, because she deserves it for sure.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about some of the challenges that you have faced. I know we talked a little bit about in school, people underestimating you, and then having a hard time like accepting you and dealing with your successes. So what about currently, or day to day, or anything like that? What kind of challenges do you face?
Let's see. I think just the usual, like physical, I guess, barriers and stuff, like just like, going out day to day. And it's not it's not as hard for me to, speak up nowadays, especially like if I need something, it's easy for me to ask like, oh, can you help me get this? Or especially at the grocery store, like getting things off the top shelf. It's like, it takes extra time to like wait around for somebody to come around, but I gotta do it. If I need it, I gotta do it. I have to, ask someone like, hey, can you get this for me? Or even like, I like in the public restrooms, I have to carry my hand sanitizer because like I don't bother with the sinks like that. I carry my hand sanitizer, after I like, doing that. And just the thing is, like, you make things work. Girl, just like all these learning experiences, where when you find yourself with these challenges, like you find your way around it. Like you make things work. And because I consider myself like, very independent, and it's almost kind of that prideful where it's kind of like, oh, I don't need help. Like you want to make sure I always try to make sure I've like tried every, solution. I've tried every alternative to make sure that I could do it before I decide to ask for help. It's kind of, it's like a little stubborn of me,
Yeah.
but.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty common with us. Like it's almost to a fault sometimes, and it bleeds. And I don't know if it's the result of, my upbringing or the marriage or that or all the above, but I'm that way across the board. Like not just with things specific to my height, but I have a hard time asking for help just in general.
Yes.
And so I'm doing better. I'm 38 though, so it took me a minute, but I'm doing better.
It's okay. We're always learning. We're always growing. And that's how my mom was like too, because, she's so strong because she did everything herself. That's the thing. I think knowing now, like asking for help is not a sign of weakness. That's the thing. That's what you have to understand. It's like you're being vulnerable, which is a sign, which is strength. Takes strength.
Yes, thank you, Brene Brown. Yes. So, you mentioned the grocery store, asking for help at the grocery store. And when we were chatting before we started, we talked about, I told you how I do delivery for the most part if I can, because for lots of reasons, but one of them is because it drives me crazy when people walk by and tell me how cute or how pretty I am. Well, because I told you look pretty, and you were like, "Thank you," but there was a hesitation.
There is, yes.
So, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Oh man, it's like not just like, oh, you're pretty or you're cute. It's just like some of these. It's almost like, I don't know. It's like because I've like spent a few times. I lived in the city a few years, like downtown. For the past few years, I like had my own apartment downtown, and I'm in the process of moving back. And like in the city, you see all kinds of people. Like I learned to be like independent. Go on the L myself. Take the Amtrak, just take the bus, or like doing my own thing. But because there's all kinds of people, you get all kinds of reaction, and it can be dangerous. It's not just about, oh, you're cute. It's, you got to make sure you're in a safe place. Like you got to make sure like you have, where you are, you have a place to get to, that, because like, it's not like that harassment I've gotten, like other women do, like with, cat calls, and just because of our size, because like our size is seen as a novelty, or our size is something that people think that they can exploit and objectify. And it's very, very scary and frustrating. And, I would think like, oh, can I marry you? Oh, can I pick you up? Oh, I'll be frank with you. I've got people like, oh, can I take you home? To the point where I was like, okay, I'm in danger. I gotta get out. I'm not going to give, that's the thing. Like, you don't want to give these people your time. You don't want to even laugh. You don't want to even like try. You need to get yourself
safe
out. Yeah, you need, like, this is not like, because sometimes I would feel like, oh, am I overthinking this? I'm like, no, you can never don't ever compromise your safety. Like,
no, and it goes back to that polite thing, like you were saying with your name before. When I was younger, I wouldn't want to offend somebody by making an assumption that they were, could possibly harm me. But and I'll tell you what drove it home. So in the movie The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, I can't remember what he says, but the guy turns out to be a bad guy, and he makes a comment that says something like, it's amazing like what you can get a woman to do because she doesn't want to offend you, like because she, he had her like trapped, but he was doing it in that like sly manipulative way, and instead of her just leaving, which she should have done because she didn't want to offend him, then and it's the same. It was young when I was younger, and I went to school, and I went to Loyola in New Orleans, and we always went with friends, but there would be times where we would be apart, and I'd get in a situation where I'm uncomfortable, and instead of like just leaving, I would stay because I didn't want to offend the other person. But now I'm like, I'm out. Like, yeah, and you mentioned, like it's typical for women to face those kinds of things in a big city or really anywhere, just in the dark. But then we have it 100 times worse because people could literally pick us up. Like,
carry pepper spray. Like, don't. Like even. Because of that there's a physical barrier. There is that extra layer. So in a public place, I guess there's a little bit, breathing room because there's other people there. Like you can, get other people's attention and, things like just plenty of things fly out of your hat. Like the comments that people make, just the way one of the things that like pet peeves is like when people, their tone automatically changes when they see you. You're like you go to, you know what I'm saying, right? Like you're in the checkout line, or you're like waiting behind to order something, like at a restaurant. It's like they're like, okay, like have a good day to the first person before you, and then they see you, they're like,
it goes up. It goes up a couple octaves. Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep. And it's even just to simply say, how are you today? It's not even that they're saying anything different necessarily, but they are saying it differently. And and then like when I told you, that you were pretty, and you were like, thank you. And then we had a conversation about that. And you made a really great point when you said, I mean, do they walk around the whole store telling every woman that they see that? No, they don't. And so while they may mean it as a positive compliment, it's condescending, to be honest, because
it is.
I mean, like, yeah, I know, first of all, but then, what? Why?
Why? It's like I know, like people. I don't think people are intentionally malicious. I don't think they're trying to be hurtful. Just like really, I don't need. There are some days like I don't want to be acknowledged. I don't need. I just need to get out and do my thing.
I know. And there's no. There, even with a mask and a baseball cap and a t-shirt, like there's no incognito. It just doesn't exist.
Oh my God. It's so funny because like every day going out, you're always going to be stared by a kid, or just like a kid's going to see you. It's like that is something we're going to live with over the rest of our life. But the funny thing is, it's like, because we're wearing masks, I mean, it doesn't like reduce the incidence, but like, it's just like, I can't, usually when a kid, stares for a longer period of time or just can't help themselves, I give them a look, but I usually say hi. Yeah. Usually wave and say hi just to be like, hey, I see you there. But now with the mask, I can't really say hi. Yeah. So I just kind of raise in my eyes and be like, like, what's going on kind of thing.
How long are we going to do this?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so am I forgetting anything? Is there anything else that you want to cover?
Sure. So I think I want to share like one more thing that I think other
Yeah.
people will find beneficial. So one of the things you asked me for, like, what are my hobbies? What are my passions?
Yeah.
So my biggest hobby is I love to travel. So I think it's been hard. It's been frustrating, disappointing because of the pandemic, because like a lot of the travel plans, a lot of the had to, be canceled or moved to virtually, especially with work. I traveled a lot for work, and I have these, I have college friends that we always make a pact to travel at least like 3 times a year, to, different, places around the country. And so one of the things that I started was a travel blog
Oh,
for little people. So it's called Just a Little Traveling. It's a WordPress site.
nice.
Yeah. So what's great, and actually my friends like they encouraged me to start a blog to, document my experiences of traveling as a little person. So if any other little people want to travel, they can come to my site for, travel tips, advice, what to look for, what to prepare for as a little person. And the main thing is about what our rights are, because I've had experiences in traveling where like people, being little, having dwarfism will need certain accommodations, some more than others, some, for me, the only really thing I need is a step stool, a couple step stools in the hotel room, to reach the sink, to get on the bed, things like that. And I've had, instances where I literally had to like fight tooth and nail just for that basic accommodation, because like they would say things like, oh, it's a liability, like they would refuse to provide a step stool, like
Wow.
because they think it's a liability. And I've had to like fight and just like go to the manager and just really try to explain, like, I have a disability, like I have dwarfism, like this is wrong, especially like in this day and age, you're going to see all kinds of people come in. And like, even if it's when it comes to like a step stool, you see children coming in and
Yeah.
out, like people, like, why you think their parents, like, I don't understand like people's mindset. So I was able to, put a page on the blog about what our rights are, like if, we run into, places of lodging that are, not going to be accommodating. I tell them, I put some tips on like, okay, how do you respond to that? Like what your rights are. And basically by denying me an accommodation, by denying me the stool, that's discrimination, because not providing a stool is denying me access to the basic amenities of the hotel. And that's against the law.
Yeah.
Like
And
they
it's so simple. It's a
so
damn
simple.
stool. And, I really like, and like you said, even if there's children, like, so it's not as if it's just us. Like, I get it that it's a rare condition, but there's children, and and that's with everything, like with the bathroom thing that you mentioned, like, just put a stool in there. I've seen where some of them have those like kind that you kick down and you can stand on it. I don't know if you've seen those. And it's not that much more of a cost, and it does a world of a difference. And you're not only benefiting us, you're benefiting, like, it's just baffling. But I did not know you had that blog. That's awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Yes, I love it. It's like, I love it so much. And just like, I have like a goal of like trying to visit every major city in the US, and I covered half the country, which is nice. And, I got to go to Mexico for a wedding and got to go to India, and I document everything. I share pictures. I talk about, the different places I visit. And I talk about, the accommodations, I talk, it's catered towards little people. So I hope that like little people aren't discouraged to travel, and knowing that they're, they can too, just to, prepare for this, what to think about, what to research, and then, yeah, I'm trying to get more traffic there. Just
Yeah.
people can know that it's there.
Yeah. So, in the comments, post the when I post the link to your blog, because
Sure.
and while it's targeted to little people, it'll still be interesting for anyone who loves to travel, especially
Yes.
nowadays when we haven't done so in so long. We want to kind of live vicariously through some other
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually just last month went to the Smoky Mountains with a couple of friends. We decided because we just wanted to get away for a little bit, just like get away somewhere remote but safe. So my friends and I, we like drove down from Chicago to the Smoky Mountains. So that's my recent blog post. So you can check that out.
Nice. Well, if/when you come down to New Orleans, let me know because I'm only an hour and a half away.
I love New Orleans. I went in January 2019.
Nice.
So it was fun. I wish we spent more time there, but the beignets, I love the beignets and
yeah, all the
seafood.
food. Oh my God, so good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go for Mardi Gras or you just went?
We just went. Like I think it was Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. It was a long weekend, and we decided to just like go feel the culture and just like watch it, look around.
Yeah. Well, Mardi Gras is fun. So Fat Tuesday is like actual Mardi Gras day, but in New Orleans, I think it's 6 weeks leading up. There's parades every weekend. So Mardi Gras day is insane. I don't go over there then because that's just way too many people, especially for me. When I was at school there, my first year there, we went out Fat Tuesday, and I took a cab and went home back to the dorm because it was so, and you know how crowds are for us. Like,
yes, it's nuts.
And it is like shoulder to shoulder, which is not shoulder to shoulder for us. So, it's butt to shoulder. So
it's dangerous. Like it's dangerous. Yeah. You can't, don't try.
No. But the weeks leading up, there's different parades, and those are much more sparse and they're so fun. It sounds ridiculous, but they're so fun. So put that on your list, and then when you come, let me know and I'll come over there.
Okay, yeah, I want to go back. I want to like do NOLA trip 2 because I feel like there's a lot more places to check out.
Yeah, it's a great city. I love it. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. Tell us, and I like to close out with this question. Just kind of bring a little bit of awareness for the BS that we have to deal with. So tell me a time or two where, someone has said or done something ridiculous or outrageous or what have you.
Let's see. As far as like recent times, I think just outside of the daily ignorance, I mean, nothing as outrageous. It's just part of educating and raising awareness. But I'll never forget when I was little. I think I was like in 4th grade, 5th grade. So still like definitely like grown up, or at least like growing, or like definitely like that independent where you can, talk, where you can interact with people and stuff. Oh man, someone asked me, like I don't like saying the M word, but it's just, someone asked me like, oh, do you go to a school for midgets? I was so baffled. I couldn't even
say anything.
I couldn't say anything. And I was like, no. This school, everyone goes there. Obviously, it was so long ago, but I'll never forget it because it's just, the ignorance just shot through the roof, but it's also just like there's so many things about it. I'm like,
just so much to unpack. Oh my God.
Yeah, so much to unpack.
And again, you realize that people aren't necessarily being malicious, but geez Louise, like, come on. Okay, well, thank you so much for talking with me. I really, really enjoyed this. And I cannot wait for you to make your second NOLA trip so we can visit, or things will open back up and maybe we'll meet at an LPA meeting next year. We just started a chapter in Mississippi.
Congrats.
Yeah, just got it official. First chapter in decades. I think like 4 or 5 decades.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. But last year, I went to several regionals around me, and because I'm new to it, and I love it, and I want my girls to be involved. So either NOLA trip 2 or an LPA meeting or something. But I very much look forward to meeting you.
Me too. Thank you so much, Angela, for time, for letting me share my experiences with you.
Have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much, Samyuktha.
Hi, you too.
Bye.
Take care.